I nearly got hit by a steam locomotive, and another one, and a third one, and even nearly a fourth one. So, I arrived now at the first part of my journey for today at Scirke. And this is a location that's located directly down off the mountain Brocken in northern Germany. And like you can see behind me, this is a small train station. You can see the tracks here. It's a downsized steam train I will ride today on the mountain Brocken. I will stay all day long on the mountain because I want to take my opportunities and shoot the train 3 times. And this is the stuff I packed. I got 2 cameras in case one doesn't do the job anymore. I got a Tamron 70, 180, 60, 30, 28, 75, and I go with a 50mm prime lens here, and also the drone with some amount of battery packs. The train is now arriving behind me, and this is the shot I want to take now in the more snowy mountain parts higher up on the mountain, because here you can see there's not enough snow, so I have to get up with the train. As you can see, the locomotive is now driving away. That's because, well, the mountain itself is now closed because there's too much snow on the tracks, and hopefully they will clear it in the next couple of hours. So they now gave me an update, and the problem is basically that there's much snow plowing over the tracks up on the mountain, and so they are trying to keep the snow off the tracks while there's new snow blowing onto the tracks. Now they try to win this battle, and when they won, there will be some trains going up, and I will now check on the weather data from the weather station up there. And the problem is that you can see that the wind gusts went up to over 50 miles an hour, and hence the snow is all blowing over the tracks. But you can see that in the last couple of hours we went down nearly to 25 miles per hour, so this should be slow enough so that there will be no more snow on the tracks, hopefully, and they will open it up. Well, I have some good news. The next train is going up to the mountain, but this will be like war because it's full of people here, and there were 2 trains missing going up, and they were all nearly fully booked. So I hopefully will get a place on the next train going up. So the train is not coming, but look, everybody wants to be on that train, but the problem is it's already nearly full, and I hope I will really fight for that place on that train right now. Also, there's a guy from the German TV here, because there's so much snow up there, it's really seldom, even for that area. So they sent a camera team here. Nobody wants to stand outside because outside it's minus 9 degrees right now, and yeah, you can see there's even water condensating on the windows because it's so cold outside. So there's now the other train coming back into the train station. So what did you know while the train is departing and driving up to the Brocken mountain? I will check the surrounding forests where there's the nicest photo composition where we can shoot the train with the nice light. And now the sky is nearly completely blue, only some more clouds, but this will make perfect contrast later. Look at all the dead trees here around. It's so sad to see. Everything died off. I was here the last time like 2 or 3 years ago, And in the meantime, all the trees were killed by the Borkenkäfer bug, which just ate some parts of the trees, and then the trees all died. We are now getting closer to the mountain top, and you can see there's not only a hoarfrost cover now on the trees, there's also a cover of clear ice, because somewhere in between all of the snowfall there must have been temperatures above the melting point, which then melted some of the snow, and afterwards it now freezed again, and so we have this nice clear ice cover under some trees. Oh, it's so nice. The steam of our train is now covering the whole sky into thick grey fog, and it's such a nice contrast with the black smoke compared to the hoar-covered frosted trees next to the tracks. This is like probably the best you can get of a German winter fairy tale train ride you can get. As we are now getting closer to the mountaintop, the trees are getting smaller and smaller because, as you have seen before, there's such high wind speeds always on the mountaintop that they cannot grow any larger trees. And this is probably the last place where you have a little bit of the trees standing, and yeah, they will be gone in a minute now. This mountaintop is so elevated that you have the same climate here as you can find somewhere around the northern Scandinavia. So the trees are now start looking like ice monsters and not anymore like trees at all. So you can see now here, this was the whole problem. This part here on the side, this was completely blown over the tracks, and they have to get this one free with the big snow blow. But this takes some time because this is one of the lower parts, and in some places it goes over a meter high. I'm now illegally on the train tracks. That's why I'm not going to the areas where it's much higher, but here you can see it. It's reaching up to over 1 meter. I'm a little bit over 1.80 meters, so this is, I guess, 1.20 meters or something. And yeah, this was all blown over the tracks. And we are lucky to be here because we are the first train now arriving on the mountaintop. Here you can see now, this is nearly 2 meters of snow, and they have to bring all of this out of the train station. And this was the reason, because we have to wait so long to get onto the mountaintop. And yeah, it's probably pretty much fun if you're younger to dig in there and to build your own snow igloo. The problem basically is now that I'm underprepared, she's underprepared, and hence the problem is easily there's so much snow drift here, as you can see, and I do not possess any snowshoes right now, and not the right trousers for snow, but somehow we will fight through to the photo location, and hopefully we'll get some nice shots. Well, yeah, there's some snow here, but it seems to work out because there are more hikers down there. Let's take a look on this sign. You can see it's pointing directly to the photo spots and giving me hints about the conditions down there. But as you can see, the path is a little bit more walked by other people, and somewhere down there are the train tracks in the middle of the frame right now. The train tracks are curved behind me, and my whole idea is now to have the train into the curve, because then I can shoot the whole train and not only the locomotive in front with the steam going over the train. And also I checked for the right wind direction, which is blowing now from that direction into this way, so the steam will stay behind the locomotive and the train and it's not in front of the train and ruining the photo. So this fits perfectly. And there's the winterly forest, which will be the background of my shot right now. Can see now here's a nearly perfectly untouched winter landscape, but when we are walking we are making tracks into the snow, and this is not what you want to have in a perfectly foreground for your winter landscape photo. So we now have to perfectly plan from where to take the photo in the foreground to not ruin our own foreground with our tracks. Well, the problem now with walking on this ground is there are stones, thick stones beneath my feet, and between there are spaces, and I need to find with my feet where's the stone and where's the space. The train is now coming. You can hear the steam engine running up the mountain. It's pretty loud and it should be here any minute. I'm now working with two lenses. I got the 70-180 from Tamron. This is what I got handheld right now, and the other camera I set up here. It's the Tamron 60-30 millimeters with a wide angle shot, and the idea is right now to combine both lenses. And then when I got my shot with the 70-180, this is the shot I take when the train is somewhere here, then I come back to my camera and get some wide angle shots. And what I did now, I already took as a photo an exposure bracketing for my foreground here. And so I just wait now for the train to be in the frame. I'm staying now middle of the tracks to get the framing of the train coming here. And there are two people, one is here. He's standing next to the train crossing. And there's another one here, the guy with the black jacket. But I already talked to him. We will move a little bit to the right and then hopefully be behind this small tree, and then he's not in my composition because, well, there are just taking some smartphone videos, and so it's not so important. And of course my high professional shots here. The train is now coming and I'm just standing here and filming while I do photos, so I have no guarantee how this video will now turn out. And then I will run back to my camera. So there's the train is coming, you can see the steam, and I'm now ready for my photos. Oh, it's nice black steam, look at it. Perfect contrast to the winterly landscape. There's my train. Well, I now got my shot of the train here, and I just figured out that with a wide angle focal length it just looks like shit, because you need the telezoom compression to have the trees looking bigger compared to the train. So the first train was just raining, and now I'm on a new location, and this is the composition. The problem is when the train is coming down from the mountain, it will not produce much steam because it's just braking the whole train while coming down, and so there's no power needed. So for this shot I pulled out a Tamron 60-30 millimeters, and I go for around 24 millimeters right now. So this is my composition right now, and I go for an aperture of 8. It's a little bit more than the ideal aperture of f5.6 of the Tamron 60-30, because I need a little bit more of depth of field for the shot to have the foreground in my depth of field, and also of course the train. Well, for my next composition I need to do something well, not so legal, I guess so, I don't know actually. Because now I'm standing next to the tracks in the deep snow. This is what I said before, sometimes getting really deep here. And those are the train tracks, and the composition is quite well when you stand exactly on the tracks, shooting with the telezoom into this direction and then framing the train somewhere over there. And my idea is, because the train is coming up the mountain, it's not too fast, I will stand on the tracks actually, take the photo and then jump into the deep snow, and hopefully not giving the train driver a heart attack. Back. Der hat aber gelacht, der Lokführer. I'm standing now in my last frame of today, and this time I changed for another lens. I got a 28-75 from Tamron, and the idea is obvious. To my left there's this nice tree, on the right there's more tree, and there's again a small curvature off the tracks, so I can have the whole train in frame. And this time I want to have the locomotive a little bit larger, so I go for a little bit more wide angle. I will shoot, I guess, between 50 and 75 millimeters. But now the problem is it's getting quite dark, so another reason to change to more wide angle, to have a little bit more of depth of field, even with a smaller aperture, because now I need to stay, I think, above 1/200th of a second to still have a sharp and unblurry image. Sadly, the fog is now a little bit more dense in the background, but luckily there's still light from the side falling into, because right where the sun was setting there's a clearing, so we have still high contrast in the foreground right now, which is pretty awesome. Okay. Now I have to be fast to pack all my things, because we now need to get up to the train station for the last train down. And I wish you all the best. Hopefully you watch my next videos too, and I wish you a pleasant day.